morning, everyone. Good morning. We're going to start our Council of Aging meeting on May 24th. And we're going to do, Pam, could you do a roll call, please?
Yes. Arthur Akers?
Here.
Chair Jacutis?
Present. Yeah.
Clerk Edwards? Present. Jackie Fitzhugh?
Here.
Betty Gonzalez?
Here.
George Harvey?
Present.
Mary Joyner?
Present.
John Olney?
Oh, me?
Richard Smith?
Here.
And,
Present.
thank you. And Joe Noble is absent today, reflects in the minutes.
Thank you, Pam. All right, so up on the agenda, we have an update from Tanya, our interim director. Tanya, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all. Welcome back, John. I am happy to report effective May 19th, which was last Friday, our garden has officially opened, and it was opened by Mayor Nicholson and the predecessor Director Gomez, and it was a lovely symbolic little event out back. We also celebrated, as most of you know, that we had a celebratory week to celebrate our year milestone, and I think that the week was filled with food, fun, live music, and I don't want to speak for the seniors, but it seemed to have a good feedback. Also, some of you may have seen that there was a mile walk on the Commons to highlight that drivers really need to be cognizant of our treasured seniors in Lynn, and they need to slow down and not honk the horn and have more patience. And so that will not be the last time that the mile walk will be conducted on the Commons. We were very happy, and they got a lot of positive feedback on that. We also graduated both ESL classes. The last class was graduated last Friday. So these were English-speaking folks that took Spanish 1 and also had a lovely ceremony here. As most of you know by now, we will be having a Memorial Day barbecue to include the 50-50 raffle that is always hosted by the Friends of the Council on Aging. We also had our first official walking group that was hosted with Gliss, Rosemary from Gliss, and that will take place every Tuesday from 1 to 1:45 going forward.
Can I just ask a question? Where is the walk going to be?
The walk begins here, and it's actually a loop. So I think she went around like Green Street and she loops around. The group finished by 1:30 yesterday. They didn't quite complete a mile, but prior to the group, Rosemary had kind of assessed what would be close to a mile, and it's actually the loop around right here.
Thank you.
I'm also happy to present some different events and presentations for June. We will be having a closed caption event for our folks that are somewhat hearing impaired. This will be a free service for the phones, for the closed captions phones. Her name is Deirdre, and she will be coming in with the free phones per eligibility. And she will also show you the functions of the closed caption phones. We also will be having our first summer senior prom hosted on June 23rd, and that will be from noon to 2 o'clock. We also have a couple of things for Father's Day. We've got some free barbering that will take place in June, and we've got some free haircuts that will be taking place in June as well. I believe we're going to Castle Island this Friday as our field trip. So we are getting up and out of the senior center. As everyone knows, the senior center is driven by the seniors, and so we hope to answer their call. And also lastly, I would like to say after this meeting, I do have a meeting at Brothers Table. It was brought up last meeting that I believe years ago there used to be a late night sort of dinner. And so we're going to resume that I'll be heading over to Brothers Table today to work out the logistics. We do have a tentative date for extended hours, which will be June. Actually, it will be, if I'm not mistaken, May 27th on a Tuesday. We will have extended hours from, actually, it's June, forgive me, it's June.
Okay, June.
From 3 o'clock to 5:30, where we will have food, fellowship, and see what other shenanigans we can get into.
That's like the supper.
I have a question. Do you mean Brothers Deli? And not?
No, I mean Brothers Table.
Oh, that's-
It was,
Oh, that's where they're getting the food from?
yes,
thought it came
I
from
don't have the
Brothers Deli.
history that some
Oh,
people
okay.
have. It was brought to
Okay.
my attention
All right.
during our last
Sounds
meeting
good.
that years ago over at Gliss,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
used to have a late evening
Yeah.
for seniors that wanted to stay back and
Right.
participate in some things.
Yeah.
And the food was also hosted by Brothers Table. So I have a
Oh.
meeting today to resume that.
That was called the supper club.
Yeah, supper club, yes.
Excellent.
Got it.
The financial reports are provided for you in front of you.
Does anyone have any questions for Tanya with the event she just mentioned or anything with the financial report? Jackie?
My question is, if you wanted to present an event or talk about an event, who would I talk to and how do you go about it? Just
Yes.
make an appointment to
Yes.
talk to you about it?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question on the year-to-date budget report. What is outside professional?
Outside
Outside
professional,
professional,
yes,
yes.
would be considered the instructors from North Shore
Oh, okay.
Community College. If we're paying the manicurists, the barbers, the hair salon,
Okay,
the massage therapists, outside providers.
okay, thank you very much.
Tanya, is it possible, and I don't want to give you any more work, to have that itemized? So whenever you say outside providers, like even if you had to pay for balloons for a party, could we say, you know, balloons was this much, the manicurist was this much?
If I may, I will defer that question to Jim Lamont.
Yep, so I'm the public record officer for the city of Lynn. If you just send me an email saying, looking to break that down for the year, we'll turn that right around for the folks. So I understand the Friends, I believe, also were interested in this. Same thing, whoever is interested in that level of detail, just shoot it off to me at my email address. Many of you may have from my prior involvement with the council.
I don't have your email address. What is it, please?
Sure, it's J as in Jim, L Larry, A Allen, M Mary, A Allen, N Nancy, N Nancy, A Allen, at lynnma.gov, all
Thank you
lowercase.
very much.
Yep, and any documents at all.
Okay.
So Tanya, I have a question, so I didn't realize, so if we usually have a barber or a hairdresser comes in, so we actually do, so the city pays them, or is they like a volunteer, so that like, say I come in, I wanna get a haircut, and I've heard, they charge like a minimum of like $10 or whatever, but they also get paid from the city?
A nominal fee as a vendor,
Oh,
as a
really?
recurring
I
vendor.
wasn't sure if that was kinda like a volunteer thing that they do.
No, so we are meeting also that financial need where every now and again, whether we have outside people that are coming in to offer free barbering services. We have a scheduled barber, he's a licensed barber, that wanted to do intergenerational work with the senior center. So he is offering for Father's Day free cuts.
Right, I was just thinking that they volunteer their time to come in to give the seniors a discounted haircut, is what I was thinking.
The $10 is the discounted,
Right.
however, many times,
Right.
behind closed doors, that full $10 is not being paid, so we keep them as vendors. I don't know the
Oh, I
fee,
get
but
you.
it's a nominal fee that is kind of rotating monthly.
Okay, now I understand, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
Just to follow up, you know, what I like about the detailed is that it's much easier to raise funds too. Like if we go and say, hey, we need this many funds for the Memorial Day party because we know last year hot dogs cost us this much. And, you know, we're behind on that and we expect more people. That's the main reason, is the fundraising aspect of it.
Right, and,
Yeah.
and I understand that because being on the Friends, Stacy back in the day would come to us, you know, because she would say, well, the entertainment cost X amount of dollars last year, we'd like a little bit of assistance if you could on, to defer the cost. So that would be helpful to us as friends to the council.
Understood. Again, that channel will go through Jim Lamanna per request.
Yeah.
Our comptroller, we're not hiding anything, our comptroller will have all that and
Right.
the detailed financials. So if the request comes to me, I'll work with the comptroller to provide that level of detail.
It's just help, it's like Pam said, it is helpful for those kind of things.
And also, if I may interject, as you all know, we've just completed our first year. And usually when you open a place from turnkey on, it takes about, the average time takes about 18 months. We also will be receiving our new budget that the team will be able to forecast, will be able to look back the last year and kind of forecast quarterly. Where were we in quarter one, quarter two? We've thrown some pretty big parties here.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of able to then moderate and scale back and kind of use last year's budget kind of as a litmus test and a forecast as to when we will be needing additional funds and how to go about that.
No, and I agree, it's a learning curve. You know, we're learning, we're still in the process. So we're just sharing information that may be helpful.
Thank you so much. And I was also
Totally
under the
understand.
impression, because I had no affiliation to GLIS, that the funding source and all of that was quite different than how it is presently.
Right.
Mary, did you have a question?
I just have a comment. You said that when the barber comes, that it's not being paid. Are you allowed to give, suppose someone wants to give donations so they can get a haircut?
Yes.
Thank you.
Early on,
Thank you.
from almost day
Thank you very
2,
much.
it was a volunteer's idea to open up a senior slush fund. And every now and again, and there is a senior in here that, thank you, has on several occasions,
Good.
coming back from the casino, has given a generous donation, and that donation goes to the slush fund. If someone wants a haircut and can't afford it, we activate that.
Nice.
I will say one thing, with the Council of Aging and the Senior Center, they cannot do fundraising. That's why we have the Friends of Council of Aging. They can do the fundraising for us. Where this, how do I explain that, Jim? Why can't we technically?
It's much cleaner to donate to the nonprofit. Their ability, the city, for example, can't do a raffle legally. A raffle only can be done by a nonprofit entity. We have a fundraising goal at the GAR, for example, for an elevator. And speaking with the Department of Revenue, they had a situation in another community where they were trying to build a skate park, and people were donating to the skate park, and then the powers that be in the town decided not to do the skate park, and the town was put in a difficult position, how to get that money back. There was a donation for a specific cause that for whatever reason didn't work. There's laws in existence. If the Friends of the Council on Aging wanted to disband, there are ways lawfully they could spend the money, but cities and towns, rather than having someone sign a waiver saying this can go to any purpose for the senior center, and not for the barber program, for a field trip, that may or may not happen, depending. So that was the arm. We have a Friends of the GAR, we have a Friends of Lynn Woods, that are nonprofit vehicles and then it's also tax exempt, so for larger donations, you'd be better off making that donation because you can deduct it, where that's not a deduction to the city.
But we can accept, the Senior Center can accept donations coming in. As of last night, we had $1,000 donation from,
It was the Women's Guild, Hellenic Women's Guild. Yes.
Greek Orthodox
Yes.
Church, St. George's Church.
Nice.
But we can accept donations, but the fundraising part we cannot do here. And that's why we have the Friends of the Council of Aging. Does anybody
I'm
have
sorry,
any-
which church?
St. George.
North Shore Hellenic Women's Guild. is,
Yes.
I drafted the council orders.
Thank you.
That's the other thing, on larger donations, there needs to be a council vote. So it's a lot easier to give the donation to the nonprofit than than having a council vote on each individual donation to accept it. That's a state law that the council has to accept any gifts to any city agency or entity.
Does anybody have any other questions?
And just to clarify, the donation then goes into the general fund?
Okay.
I did, I'm telling you.
So Pam,
Point of clarification, the $1,000 donation that was received last night goes into the general fund?
No.
No, I mean, should I say, our budget line item, the COA budget line item?
It will go into a separate fund that is under the control of the COA, correct? So
Okay.
it does not go in the general fund, it can't, as much as I'm probably worthy of a raise, it won't go to,
Pam, is it our duty to the Council on Aging to send a thank you? Would be nice.
Yes, yes, that's what I was gonna say, whenever the Friends receive gifts, Joan sends a thank you card.
Exactly.
So, I was wondering, should the clerk do that? I guess I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just
Do
curious,
you
that'd just be
want,
nice.
to send the thank you through the Council of Aging?
Yeah.
Okay, yes ma'am, that would be, okay.
Yeah.
a point of information, there's also a $1,900 donation of food from a distributor in Everett that the council voted last night, so.
Oh, that's very nice. So there's two donations.
Oh, okay.
That helped out with the Mother's Day baskets that they did. Anybody have any other questions?
Just another clarification, when anything like that comes in, can somebody shoot me an email with the address? And I'll take care of those kinds of thank you cards?
Yes. We'll move on, I know Jim has another meeting. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna skip Joan's report right now because she's not here, and I'm just gonna go right to new business, so Attorney Lamanna can discuss something, and, because I know he has a meeting, then we can continue our meeting.
So it's come to the law department's attention that a number of candidates for elected positions are coming here seeking signatures, oftentimes unannounced, and that there were some of the seniors had expressed some concerns that it was becoming a little bit overwhelming. As a general legal matter, a candidate can go into any building that is open to the public. So you could sit and stand in City Hall foyer and collect signatures, but you couldn't come into my personal office because you're only allowed in there if you're invited. Well, there are certain places in City Hall that are not publicly accessible. So speaking with the attorneys in our office, because this is the senior center, and I believe it's 55, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the age?
60.
60, okay. Because it is limited to individuals only 60 years or above are welcome to come and participate in the activities. It is not a municipal facility that is open to the general public. And we're certainly not going to issue an opinion that only candidates over 60 years old can come in and get signatures. So this would not be a place that's proper for signatures for candidates to come in unannounced looking to have signatures, just because of the state law governing where you can campaign and collect signatures. Also aware that many candidates, this is traditional, I ran for school committee back in '97, I did ice cream events, so that's traditional. Speaking with the director and chairperson, it probably is worthy of some discussion on having some type of protocol when that happens, so that we're not double booked, that it's not going to interfere with a field trip, a bingo, and that's something where you know, this council may want to put together some rules and regulations that require pre-notification, whether that's 48 hours, 1 week in advance, so that we don't have 3 candidates all serving ice cream. We can spread it out. I'm sure that they'll all be here wanting to earn your votes, so it's not a situation that they're not allowed to do that. It's just to be able to have some planning in place that does not interfere with lunchtime or whatever other activities that's going on. So that really is up to you as a board, what type of protocols you want to have for advance notice to the director going forward.
Thank you, Jim. So,
And if I could, I'm going to instruct the city clerk to send out an email to all the candidates taking out papers that the signatures are not allowed, and then whatever the policy that you folks have to come up with will be the policy that will be included in that email.
so we will work on that after Jim, I know he has a meeting, figure that out. But like we said, we want to welcome the candidates in here because we want everybody here to know who they are, what they're about. But it's getting too much in the senior center that they're just showing up. So if they make an appointment with Tanya, if they want to have an ice cream social, if they just want to come in and speak to the seniors, that's fine, but they're gonna have to go through Tanya so she can look at her schedule. As Attorney Lamanna said, you don't want them coming in interfering with lunchtime, you don't want them interfering with, you don't want them interfering with bingo, because they will lose their votes. I will say that. Never interfere with bingo. But if there's certain activities going on, like field trips, want to make sure that they know what's going on in town. You has control of, you can come this day between 1 and 2 o'clock. You have 1 hour, and it's just a little more control, and nobody will feel pressured out there.
And when they wanna bring a hot dog, we can enjoy that.
Does anyone have any questions regarding that, or any questions for Attorney Lamont before he has to
I
leave?
think it sounds sensible, logical, yeah, no, very good.
Right, now that it's a
Just
team
better put a
instead of
candidate.
one.
I make a,
Excellent, good to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Well,
Have a good day.
yeah.
I make a motion,
And I, Mary Joyner, second that motion.
I make a motion that the candidates call to make appointments through Tanya for activities such as ice cream socials,
And sign
food
the
is ready to
papers.
come in to, yeah.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
We need a vote on that though, right? Correct, Pam? Okay. Roll call.
Oh, we don't have to roll call.
You don't
No,
have to-
no,
Okay,
sorry.
all right. So Tanya, is there anything you wanted to add to that, I know we're making these decisions, but you're the one that's here every day, we are not, so do you want to add anything to that?
Other than I thank you, I'm in full support of that. I've noticed for the year when my predecessor was here, there was a little bit more gatekeeping in that sense. And as we are having events, there's been, I wouldn't use the word ambush, but I would use the word a bit of avalanche where during these parties and celebrations, folks are walking through the door and are kind of using that opportunity to then solicit for votes. And it kind of, then it takes on a different feel. And I don't like that for them. We have prided ourselves on being as organized as possible and having a structure so that the seniors can position their minds as to we're going to have set person at set time to discuss set issues, and also allowing the seniors to ask very poignant questions. If you are catching people at a barbecue and soliciting, votes and signatures, you're not doing your due diligence in giving them the information because they're in a celebratory mode. So I would very much like to go back to just folks respecting that this is a senior center. And even though it is a city building, our seniors really are not seniors that are laid back. These seniors are erect and they're very present-minded, and they like to ask questions, and they like to know, they just like to have the information prior to signing. And so, respect both ways on that. Thank you.
Pam, let's see what the board thinks. and I wasn't thinking that, when we do have events here, it's great, everyone's welcome, we want the candidates here, we want the elected officials here, we want the public here. But we should also let them know it's a celebration for the senior center, not for them to come in campaigning. If they wanna come in and be part of the festivities, if they wanna help out, that's great, but we don't wanna ruin, not ruin, but we don't wanna take away from
Yeah.
senior activities when they feel like, oh, do I have to talk to this person, I have to sign this, but, oh, wait a minute, they're dancing over there, I wanna go do that, we have to go get food. You know Mary.
True, I know.
So, should we add that they are more than welcome to all the activities, but they're here to join in the activities, not to campaign. If somebody asks them questions, they answer them, but this is for the seniors, not for them to come in and disrupt their fun activities. John?
I have a rejoinder to what Ty said. The question is, prior to them coming to ambush, just like you said, did anybody give them that approval to show up?
Well, I will tell you that I owe the seniors an apology. There was one Friday that there was someone unfamiliar, you know, in the center, and it was kind of sprung up on me that this gentleman was running. And so I kind of was taken aback, and I did allow the person to speak. And I think going forward, that is not how we want to do business.
Okay.
We want to do business where the seniors know in advance and have that time, whether it's half an hour or 45 minutes, to position their minds and their bodies that to receive this information, and also to generate thought-provoking questions before they put their signature. A lot of our folks don't even know what ward they're in, and so a lot of information comes at an unscheduled time, and it's just an unfair way to obtain.
Yeah, my follow-up is, I'm not an attorney, but we are all very alert and active in our political dispensation. Here is the caveat. From what you said, we've got to be very, very careful, because one, let us pretend that the senior center is a daycare, which it is. It's a daycare.
Yeah.
Even though it's a city building, but it's a daycare. Now, would a political person or a campaigner walk into a daycare soliciting for signature to be voted for? If that is the case, then we cannot put a caveat in what we want to allow them to come and do here.
Point of order, Madam Chair, I totally disagree, this is not a daycare.
No, I'm not saying it is.
This
I said,
is,
let us pretend. Let us pretend it is, because, well, in a way, it could be a daycare for seniors to come and gather and then be nurtured. We want to nurture them. So,
no, I disagree.
we're not nurturing the seniors?
It's not about that.
What it is, it's a
Put it in the
public
social.
building, everybody is welcome, we
Right.
do not close the doors to anybody, but I think she just wants to do a little more control. If they wanna call and volunteer to
Right.
pull numbers for bingo, that's great, she could use all the volunteers that
Right.
she can get. It's just, instead of unannounced,
Right.
schedule an appointment. Everybody is welcome here, every candidate is welcome
exactly
here.
what it
But we just wanna know when they're coming, so
Right, and
we
how
can let the
many.
seniors know that we're not gonna be disrupting any activities in the building. Where it is a public building,
Have your day.
like this meeting today, it's a public meeting, anyone can come to this meeting.
Yeah.
So we can't say, no, you can't come in.
Right.
But Tanya can say, you can't come in tomorrow, we have an activity, but these are the days I have available and these are the time slots. Just a little more control, so the seniors know who's coming.
And limit how many of them are coming in. You can't let 5 of them come in, that's
Exactly.
too much.
Well, okay, all right. Well, I mean, I take that back. If you look at it that way, no problem. But I promise you, I know for a fact that those political folks, they are going to abuse it in the near future.
But she has to give them their time slot. They can't just walk in. They can walk in during the activity, but we're gonna let it be known it's a senior activity. Nothing like, as a city councilor, I come down here for different events. I do pop in, but I'm also part of the Council of Aging. I've been here 4 times, like 5 times in the last week. But I had paperwork to sign one day. I came in to sign the paperwork, I stayed because there was a mariachi play here. I'm like, oh, wow, I stayed for that. Just different events, it's fun, but I'm not campaigning while I'm here.
Right.
Because this is more,
Absolutely.
I've never have, even at the other senior center. I never went into campaign, maybe on the outside. People come to my fundraisers, but I come down here and it puts a smile on my face. I end up having a good time. One of these days I will make it to bingo, but I have not made it.
We'll hold you to it.
I brought prizes though.
Oh, okay.
George, you
No,
have a-
I just wanted to say, I agree with you, Diana. I think that we should welcome
Yep.
them here, the candidates, whoever it may be. Make them feel welcome.
Yes.
And it would be great for them to come in and just participate, join us to help serve an event or whatever it might be. Call bingo. So I think that's very important for everybody. And then, again, if they want to campaign, it's better for the candidate to make the appointment, that we know they're going to be here, to welcome them. Yeah, and I think that's a great system. I agree.
And you can prepare yourself for a certain
Right.
candidate coming in, you're like, oh, I want to ask
Right.
this person a certain question.
Right.
You're gonna have some questions ready for the person, and it's more informational that
And
way.
if they're gonna bring ice cream, we're gonna be more excited.
Then you gotta be careful when they do that, so that they don't go and publicize that the senior center, they got the endorsement of senior center.
No, I usually,
Make that clear.
Yeah, make it clear.
these elected officials are treated like presenters, and we usually kind of go over the presentation and the content, and it runs smooth like that. It's usually when people kind of act outside of those boundaries that can become slightly problematic.
So is everybody okay with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, I'm sorry that we had to skip Jim, Attorney Lamont had another meeting and he wanted to go over that, so I'll get back on. Okay, does anybody have any other questions for Tanya with the financial, the activities, everything all set?
No, Tanya's doing a great job. Thank you, Tanya.
Wonderful job, yes,
Yes, you are.
yes, she is. It's
That's
not
the
easy.
Friends report. Pam, would you like to read Joan's report? Because she is out today. Her daughter is graduating and getting her master's, I think.
Oh, summa cum laude.
Oh, it says it.
Yes.
Yes, Joan submitted, and it's on your agenda, the Friends of Lynn Council on Aging are pleased that the request for the American flag will be publicly displayed in the senior center. It will be honored on May 26th. Folks are welcome to come. We will also be having a 50-50 fundraiser raffle that day. Next meeting of the Friends will be held on May 26th. Respectfully submitted, Joan B. Noble.
Thank you, Pam. I'd usually say anyone have questions for Joan, but she's not here, so no questions.
No question.
What's next?
All right, so we have new and old business. So, number one on this, director hiring process timetable. So we went through all our interviews. We narrowed it down. We are going to see, we did have somebody come in here yesterday and do a walkthrough. And she was the top pick, and we just had her come down here, met with Tanya. Tanya gave her a tour of the building, and talking to Drew, he sent a letter to the mayor's office. It was a unanimous vote by the committee. And we'll wait to see if she's going to accept. I don't know the timetable. It could be a month. So she does have a previous job, so it's not something she can just walk out on. I really can't give details because she has not accepted the job yet. So I can't give out names and exactly, but like I said, some of the seniors saw her down here yesterday walking through, and Tanya did a great job. That's about all the information I have on that. Next was construction space. It's construction space at the senior center. I was hoping to have plans, the schematics for the senior center. I do not have them. But if you walk through the building today, you're gonna see people in here. The architects are back. So they are doing some more designing. So it is a work in progress, but you're seeing people here. I'm not lying to you, we are actually going to be doing some work here. We're getting the second floor. Like I said, I don't have the plans, I was hoping, but they're back here doing some more sketching and looking at different things, so it is happening. Honestly, we are gonna have new design in here and we will have upstairs.
I just have a question regarding just the rearranging of things. So my main thought would be, for me, I'm thinking, the parking lot situation. The handicap parking, it's tough out here. Only because, like, I got the van. Like today I ended up parking way at the very end because is there any way that we can configure this parking a little bit better?
You know what, that's something, I will check on that. It's funny you brought that up because even just pulling into a regular space, like, I don't have that big of a car, but the spaces seem
Yeah.
so narrow out there. And I know through the years, different things have changed with the sizes of spaces, but I pull in out here and I'm like, my car just fits in that space, I'm right in the line.
Yeah.
So it's something we will look into then, I'm gonna put that down,
Yeah, 'cause I didn't know
especially
if
the
they
handicap.
had. No, I don't know what the parking is here.
You don't know the boundaries, the boundary line, if
Right.
you will.
And right now, it looks to me that there's really maybe 2 to 3 spaces for handicap.
I wanna say there's 4 allocated for
Oh,
us,
okay.
maybe 2 on one side and 2 on the
Oh,
other.
on this one, yeah.
Image wise, I'm not pulling it up.
Right,
In my mind, but I think I understand what you're saying. And also early on, I think the signs were not clear because there's one arrow going this way and one arrow going
Yeah.
this way, and so seniors were a little unsure of how to navigate between those signs. Was it both ways or was it just
Right.
one way? So I do understand and appreciate what you're saying.
Thank you.
I just want to add this. It's funny you should bring that up, George. I parked on the street because what's happening is they're getting out of their car. I got nicks all on my door. So I'm going to stop parking on the street. I'm going to need a paint job. Who's going to be responsible for that? Joking. Yeah, they're
Maybe
nicking
that's
the
a new
truck.
activity
They're
we
nicking
can bring
it.
in the senior
They're
center.
nicking it
Auto.
because they're
Oh,
not
gee.
able to
I didn't
lock
say
the
that.
door. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Anybody have any other questions regarding that? I will look into that, George. I'll let you know, and then I'll have information at the next meeting also.
Okay.
All right, driver, what are the requirements, what are the hours and pay? That I don't know. What is the benefit to be a volunteer driver? Okay, Tanya, I'm gonna put some of this on you, because you
Sure.
have been talking to the mayor's office and to, no, you were talking with Drew. right?
Sure.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, we have had additional support from public health. We've had some employees to help with transportation. I'm going to be very clear and concise about what I'm getting ready to say. Health and safety is at the priority of what we do here, whether it's the food, storage, or whether it's transporting seniors safely to and from the senior center back to their residences. It takes a certain kind of driver for a handicap accessible van. It's not that just because you have a license that you have the capability of driving this. I have 2 decades of transporting disabled adults in a much larger vehicle than this bus. So it's only because of that reason that I'm able to safely transport seniors. So the requirements that we're looking at that I did discuss with our human resources director is that really the job description should be inclusive, that the person, the ideal candidate, should be someone that has experience with handicap accessible vehicles. That's paramount. In terms of the hours, I can speak that we are strongly advocating for a full-time driver, especially now that we're looking at extending once a month the senior hours for seniors to come in fellowship. We need a driver for that. And for those of you that may not know, I've been providing transportation for going on a month now. So I am able to do a full assessment of what is needed because I am driving the vehicle without a monitor because I'm able to do that. I'm able to assess and evaluate the needs and also hopefully have input on the candidate for the driver. That's a big responsibility. And so we're not just looking for a run-of-the-mill person that has a license. We're looking for a very patient and competent person that can maneuver wheelchair accessible vehicles.
Are they have to gonna be full-time?
I am advocating for full-time because, like I said,
Right now it's not working okay. If you come here at 2 o'clock, is anybody here?
Right.
Because everybody left at 2 o'clock. Is any activity in the afternoon? Or in the morning because they drive it?
well, I would also like to interject something, if I may, Betty. The doors here do not close until 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So even though we may not have a structured activity, the building is accessible to any senior that would like to stay until 3 o'clock. And many times,
Excuse me, the only people that start here at 2 or 3 o'clock is the home legs. Because the other people, they came in the transportation at 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock after lunch, okay, the first time the people they have to go to home at 11, the last transportation is going to be at 12. So the people have to eat the lunch faster to go home. That's only stay here 1 hour. What activity did you see in the program is in the afternoon? Don't have any activity in the afternoon that people can stay here to do it. That the people going to sit there and watching the face. No, it's
I'd like to interject on that because you brought that up in the other meeting, and that's okay. Can't we get together and ask Tanya, if you have something in mind that you want to do, she would surely open it up to extend it. No one's saying
But
anything.
honey, if we don't have something to do it, we will not do it with who? Because everybody left because of the transportation.
I thought that they extended that a little bit. Didn't you extend that a little bit? the
I do,
transportation?
I've been
I
doing
thought
2
you
runs.
extended it.
Right,
little
so just to,
Yeah.
you know, I made pretty much I made a promise that I would not disrupt services regardless of the staffing issues that we had.
Right.
So I've been coming in earlier than I was supposed to
Right.
begin transportation at 8 or 8:15. Seniors
Yeah.
here arrive between 9:15 and 9:30. Mind you, our doors open at 9.
Right,
I don't start afternoon transportation until 12:30, 12:45.
right.
And by then, I do agree, the core of activities take place between 10 and 12. Usually after 12, if you're not participating in this great walking group that we have, Betty is right. There's a
Yeah,
lot of
right.
downtime and we don't have structured activities. We have the rooms accessible, the billiards, a meditation room,
Right.
and you are here per your leisure. But I do understand it is quite challenging
Yeah.
because you don't have transportation. So if you came on my transportation and you have to leave at a certain time and
Right.
maybe your heart, you wanted to hang out for a little longer, yeah, it's been a difficult thing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I serve as the interim director,
You're
the
doing a lot
manager,
of stuff.
the driver.
Jeez.
But if you see the difference, like you say, you came early at 8, 8:30 and started transportation. The volunteer came at 9 o'clock. And they started transportation at this, and they came with the first group at 10 o'clock. That's why then the other meeting, they have to be with the calling meeting. I can make it sometime because
I know.
they start at 9 o'clock at the meeting, and I can be at that time for the meeting.
And trust me,
So-
I wish I could offer an immediate
No, it's only for
solution,
me.
because I think that you're advocating for many of your cohorts, your peers. Unfortunately, Betty, I don't have an immediate solution. I have tried very
I
hard.
know, it's not in your hand, and you know it's not in your hand, but and I think if you put that activity in the afternoon too, and the people finish want to stay,
Yeah.
okay, that's better because they know they have something activity in the afternoon.
Understood.
Right.
But I have the awesome burden of also taking several variables into
Right.
consideration.
Yeah.
One of the variables is that I cannot secure afternoon events and activities unless I have a full-time driver that I can depend on, because it also takes away from the administrative responsibilities that I'm bound to.
What happened last week? We have they was on Tuesday, they canceled but like a 2 or 3 activities, they have all at the same time between 10 and 11.
So
I
this
see.
And that is absurd.
So this is something I will also, we're advocating for that full-time driver. If we can get this full-time driver,
Right.
Tanya's
Then
gonna be
you can-
able to do some
Sure.
afternoon
Right.
activities. Until we get this full-time driver, I hate to say it, we're stuck, but it's something we are pushing for, because we really need it, like you said. You wanna do something in the afternoon, you just don't like, wanna sit there like this at the table. You want something to do, that's why you're here, to stay busy. So we will, we're advocating. I will talk to the mayor again, I will talk to personnel director. We definitely need the full-time driver, because it's
Yeah.
taking
Yeah.
away.
Well, I would like to say
Even
one
as
thing
before-
too, that
Okay.
many of the people that come to the senior center have what is known as a SCO. And the SCO, certain ones offer transportation for even social events. So until, I think that we need to look at all of our assets that we have, including the ride, those free rides from our insurance and that, until this happens. So maybe what we need to do is have an educational of what is currently available until we
Yeah.
can get a full-time driver. Because I even know, like at Mass Senior Action meetings, there are people that are not using the benefits
Right.
that we fought for, that Mass
Right.
Senior Action fought for, so that you could have transportation
Yeah.
to social
But
events.
I said even if they have us here, we can make it a kind of charge for the transportation.
I agree.
Because in the other center where Chris is right now, they have they charge for the transportation, $10 or something like that for each one. They keep the money to help us. And and in the other hand, for the transportation, it's not only that, because for the people, the elderly people, they have the transportation from the insurance. The insurance is only for the medical, but not for to come to the center.
That's right.
I get
No,
balance,
that's
I
not
get,
true.
No, that the one they ride,
Yeah.
and the one the other one where you was working before, you do it for the rifle for the right now. Don't do it for any center. Just only for the medical transportation.
If I may. First of all, the board, as part of the board, I don't want to discourage Tanya, because I feel she's doing a great job, and there's a lot of responsibility,
Right.
and there's a lot that we're trying to learn. And so going back to what Pam had mentioned, I think that it'd be great if we could have a time where we could present options. Because I believe what Pam is saying is true. We're not taking advantage, we, meaning the seniors, aren't taking advantage of what we could be taking
Right.
advantage of. So I agree to a point, but we need not to just, we want to make
Right.
this, try to make everyone feel comfortable. We want to do it right for everyone.
Right.
Let's
Right.
figure out what,
What
Yeah.
can be.
and I guarantee you, if you look at the census data, Betty, the amount of monthly income going to Beverly Senior Center is gonna be much higher than the amount of income coming to
Well,
Lynn
that's-
Senior
that's
Center.
the other
Because
thing.
remember when we have the bingo before, we stop for have a lunch at 12. We have the lunch at after 12. We continue the bingo until 3 o'clock. Now everything is fast.
Well, it's just a work in process. We as a group, along with the management, we all have to learn,
Yeah,
and we will get to that point, I think.
Pam, do you have a list of whether it's the free transportation, what the insurance covers. Somebody was talking about transportation, I think it was you the other day, correct? Or was it you, Ted?
Yeah, I'm always talking about.
Yeah, but
Well,
is there a way we can get just a flyer saying look into this transportation, see what your insurance?
Can I ask you a question? Because,
Yes.
you know, what is happening with that, the money, the federal money they give it to, is for what, for less, for the senior center?
From the state, that money?
No, the federal money. What from?
The ARPA?
For
The
less
ARPA
or for-
money, that was for the reconstruction of the building, correct?
I can't speak.
Yes, I wanna say that's for the work we're putting into the building, because we're gonna have the whole second
Yeah.
floor, we're doing a whole new kitchen.
Betty, the ARPA money could not be for salaries.
No.
Because it had to be like a one-time payment, because it's not, like, we're not gonna get it next year to pay for that person's salary.
Right.
It had to be like brick and mortar, they call it, like a one and done. Yeah. But no, that's a good idea. I just think that there are things that I don't even know that's in the city that we could do. For instance, I was telling Councilor Jacutis, there's a city that Mass Senior Action works with. The mayor did not want the liability, so he contracted with the door-to-door service. And so we have Ocean State that has vans, that has drivers, that has handicap. Maybe we could contract with them, and the money that we would spend on transportation, they then have the liability, they have the training, they have the upkeep on the van, and they give people not only transportation to the senior center, but then they also give them transportation to like the grocery store and medical too. So there's a lot of options up there. We just need to think outside the box. And I'm telling you right now, I know of people that I have looked them in the eye and say, use the transportation on your insurance.
Right, and they
Not
don't.
Smitty, but others,
Yeah.
and they're not doing it. And I don't know why. I don't know if they're afraid it's gonna cost them, but education really is gonna be key to
That's
this.
a good idea. And I'm willing sometimes when we do extend it, I'll drive some people home. But I do agree with Betty, it's a lot, you know? I'll drive them home if we ever get to that point.
Anybody have any other questions regarding the transportation?
No, I'd like to, Kim, we could get together to figure maybe some type of meeting to educate, to even just for us to learn what we have available and how it can be used.
Definitely, we could
And
set
then
up a
just do like
subcommittee
that.
after the meeting, George.
I think that's a great, I'd be happy to help with that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
But we don't wanna discourage anybody
No.
out there in
not
the
discouraging.
community. If you
No.
apply, we still need a driver.
Right.
Oh, no.
Betty's not as scary in person as she is on TV.
Neither am I.
We love you, Betty.
Yeah, she has a right to do
No, she
what-
has some very thought-provoking.
That's
right.
I
And it's
think
all right.
She has
We
some
agree.
very
And it's
thought-provoking
all right.
questions
It's
okay.
that leads into, and
That's what we're here
also,
for.
you know, this is a two-way
Yeah,
street. There's
it is.
reciprocity at this senior center.
Right.
We are part of a think tank to come up with solutions. We're not a one-way street. It's
Right.
not for Betty or any other
Right.
senior to come
Right.
and put the problem on the table and say, fix it. This is a mutual relationship that we problem solve, so I thank you for that,
I know
ma'am.
that it's not only for you, the people in the city hall all together have to
Yeah.
do it for
Thank you.
We have one more thing on the agenda.
Which is very positive.
This is
It's-
all you, Pam.
It's gonna be exciting.
What?
At the State House, get ready all you bingo people. They are looking to overthrow the 2016 law, I think it was, that they will now, with limitations, allow you to actually use money on bingo and cards in the senior center.
Oh,
So-
something else you gotta think.
I'm dissolving, right?
I know,
Yeah.
it's too much. It's too much.
With limits, you can only do like $5 a
like
day,
a
50 cents,
reasonable
yes,
before.
it's all with limits.
I'm
not-
screaming uncle right now.
Yeah,
I hear you.
That's how you're gonna put slot machines in a restaurant.
I'm not.
When is those gonna start?
you need to let your state rep know that you're for that. That's right.
Oh,
This
everybody
is,
gonna know
yeah,
about
this
it.
was
And they need to
started
come and
by,
make an appointment
great.
through me, and I'm not taking appointments. So
I hear you. I hear you. I want to do that.
Does anybody have any other questions or concerns in today's meeting?
Well, I just want to thank two folks and the entire board as well. First of all, to Joanna. She's not here today. I got a card. My family received a card from her. So very much thank you to her. And
The board.
I also got a card from Ms. John, and that's great. I'm not going to be here in June because we'll be traveling across the Atlantic for the burial of my father. It's been a pleasure that the board rallied around me and all that. So I really thank those two and thank everybody. We're not going to be back until July. After the burial, it's going to be a long journey. So I just want to express my appreciation to those that reached out, called, and they said come. So my family said thank you, and I thank you all.
Safe travels. We wish you to you and your family.
Thank
I
you.
got a point of information. When is the break for summer? Are we breaking or are we working through the
I think
summer?
it's July.
Are we breaking?
Usually it was July and August, wasn't
July
it?
and August.
Are we breaking or are we working through the summer? Is it all-
What's the feel of the board right now? Because usually we do not have meetings in July and August
I agree with that.
unless something, an emergency comes
Well,
up that we
yeah.
have to meet.
Right.
Would you like to go back to the way we used to do it, take July and August off?
I would.
make a
Mary.
motion?
I want to break in July and August.
Can I second that? I'm not even supposed to. Just personally.
A second.
Mary, are you making a motion?
Yes, Mary E. Joyner will make a motion that we don't meet during the months of July and August.
We have a motion, we have a second,
Second.
all in favor?
Seconded.
Except for, if, like you said,
If
Diana,
an
if there's
emergency,
something we need to
right.
discuss, you know, maybe transportation, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And then we can get together, but other than
Perfect,
that, we
yeah.
will,
Yeah.
so we'll see everyone but John in June, and then after that, we'll have our break, but we'll keep you updated on what goes on. PM will send the minutes out.
Yeah.
And like I said, if it's something with the transportation, we may have to have a meeting, but hopefully we'll have that all resolved.
Hope so.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. And we'll take a little break, but you can still come down to the senior center.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
everybody.